Hey guys, just wanted to take a moment here today and talk to you about various methods of prayer. Depending on the tradition or the path that you were raised in, if you had a house that was raised under various religious practices, you may have a completely different understanding and definition and reason for praying. But I wanted to take a moment here and talk to you about 5 methods that allow you greater connection with your Creator and kind of some of the ideas behind their practice. So, to begin with, you may be quite familiar with the sort of what you might call supplication prayer or adoration, where you're basically talking to God or your Creator in a conversation. You know, maybe sometimes it seems more like a one-way conversation, but you're saying things that you're thankful for. You're talking to God about how great God is, or you're asking for things like, to have some of your needs met, fulfilled. You're praying for someone to be healed. This is a powerful way to direct your mind towards the divine. Um, One of the drawbacks is that many times people get caught in their head. The conversation is only happening intellectually between them and God. And oftentimes it lacks the power or the energy for any sort of in-depth experiences as a result of it. So that being said, one way to develop a greater experience or deeper experiences in this manner of prayer is to focus the attention and to recognize that a prayer is going to be both intellectual and in your heart. So to cultivate that type of heart energy is part of this whole process. Another method of prayer that many people are connecting with, or ways that they connect with God, are liturgical prayers. Like if you're born into the Jewish tradition, uh, Catholicism has a lot of liturgical prayers, and then even Islam, where you're going to have the same prayers that have been recorded in prayer books, and they're prayed again and again and again. And all across the world, members of a specific denomination or faith are using the same prayers again and again as a way of them to connect with God. Nothing wrong with that way of doing things. One of the drawbacks, one of the pitfalls, if you're not aware, is getting caught up in the routine of it. You know, just getting caught up in the rote routine of the process without any heart, without any actually emotion or energetic focus on what is being said and the intention behind it. The liturgical type prayers can be an amazing way to direct that mind, direct that focus, and basically keep your mind directed on your Creator. Yeah, but again, it's super important to practice and cultivate the intention behind the words. What are the words there to communicate? These prayers can be very useful and an excellent way to focus the mind, discipline the mind, but for its true power to be unlocked, I deeply encourage you to focus on what you're reading, focus on what you're saying, and infuse each and every word with a deeper, or with the deep intention that's intended behind it. Not simply getting lost in all the words because you've said them 1,000 times. So that's something I mean, it's a great way of praying, but again, it's important to have a deep intention and to focus it, because that's where you're really going to unlock the power of your prayers. Then the third method I'd like to discuss today is what you might just say silent meditation. just sitting in stillness. The Jewish and the Christian traditions have a scripture that says, "Be still and know that I am God." I think that this is actually a very direct and simple communication, basically saying, still yourself, still your body, still your mind, your thoughts. Sit, be still, and underneath it all, you will find your Creator. Within every living creature, you have this life energy. You have this God. You have God inside of you. And that being said, the only thing that's keeping you from a direct experience of that are all of the thoughts and masks and desires and things that we've put on layer after layer since we were born into this planet. If we can still those thoughts and just let them be, disciplining our mind and disciplining our heart and body to focus on that silence behind it, the light of your true nature will begin to shine forth. And the longer that you can hang out in that space, the longer that you can bring your mind and body and heart back to that space, the greater your experience of creation, of God, will be in your day-to-day life. Eventually, that sitting meditation, those experiences, that peace, that joy, that love that you experience in the depths of your meditation will eventually begin to outpour into your day-to-day life as you're driving your car, as you're at the gym, as you're discussing things with your neighbors or family. That natural light will begin to shine forth. There's so much that can be said on each one of these topics. I'm just touching on each one of them briefly so we can have a brief idea on it. We can dive into each one of these more and more in future messages. Another tradition, not to be confused with liturgical prayer, and something that's more often popular in Eastern traditions, is a mantra, which is essentially either a word or a phrase that is designed to direct your mind in a specific direction. And the direction of it is, of course, it's up to where you want to go. The ultimate intention of, I think, eventual intention of any spiritual practice is a deeper connection with one's Creator. So rather than get confused in 1,000 different mantras that for various purposes, certain mantras that can direct your mind to focus on one thing, and that one thing is generally going to be your Creator, God. It's a way to let all the chatter, all the words, all the thoughts, all of the thinking about the past and all thinking about the future, all of those things that the ego likes to throw in front of you throughout your day, it's a way to focus your attention and bring it back to the one idea again and again and again. And eventually you begin to train your mind and your heart. They begin to line up, and then soon, with enough training and practice and diligence, your mind is only focused on that one thought. As that begins to develop in your practice throughout the day, throughout the week, month, and years, that idea can eventually go, you can eventually go beyond that. But one of the best benefits of a mantra is that it keeps that mind focused back to the same idea, so you are going in the same direction again and again and again. That mind begins to respond to your will. And then one of the methods of prayer that I think is absolutely most important, but also has, in most traditions today, completely been lost, abandoned, maybe even hidden deliberately. But it's most often not found in any sort of churches or synagogues or mosques or anything that I've ever visited. And that is this, I don't even know what you would call it. I just call it a lost method, which is essentially believing what you pray for right away. It's basically, truly I tell you that anyone who says to this mountain, be taken up and cast to the sea, and does not doubt in his heart, but believes that what he says will happen, it shall be done. Therefore I say to you, all things for which you pray and for which you ask, believe that you have received them, and they shall be granted you. So, whatever you pray for, whatever you ask for, the first idea behind it is to believe that you have received it. Tell the truth in advance. Give thanks to God for it in advance. And then, now that you've prayed for it, now that you've given thanks for it, the next part of your mission is to train your mind, train your body to experience it, to feel what you would feel uh, as if it were already in your life. You train your mind and you walk about your life and you walk about your days with the same feeling as if your prayers have already been answered. And it's a practice and it develops. And the more frequently you do it, the more often you practice that answered prayer, the feeling, the frequency of that answered prayer, the more powerfully you do this, or the more often you do this, the more powerfully it will start to show up, and the more easily you'll be able to access that space that the thing you've prayed for. This is where you begin to see miracles in your life. You begin to see things unfold in the most miraculous and mysterious ways as you begin to align yourself with the frequency of your answered prayer. I definitely plan to go into this a lot more in depth, but I want to touch base with you. I want to connect with you on this and at least bring it here to the forefront. Each one of the previous prayers is strengthened even further by the practice and the cultivation of this frequency alignment, with aligning yourself with the answered prayer or the prayer that you've asked for. So tell the truth in advance regarding your prayers, give thanks in advance, and by your faith, which you cultivate, it will be done to you.